Hello, Bashar. I would like to get more explanation out of you about the mind-body relationship. You've said that the mind exists within the body within the soul. Right. But that's pretty vague. I think. Like, when you say mind, does that include the higher mind, or is it just the physical mind? And as a healer, my experiences definitely would agree with the idea of the mind existing with, like, the physical mind existing within the body. That much seems very clear. But logically, I still grapple with that one because our physical health is so impacted by the beliefs and definitions that we have in our mind. So it would appear that the body is subject to the mind, even though I know that can't be, that the mind has to be subject to the body. And I would love some great examples, or at least one good example of how the mind is subject to the body. That would be helpful. Please comment. Thank you very much.
All right. Well, in some cases, you're accurate, and in some, you're sort of mixing your metaphors. But to start simply, often, in most cases, when we say body, mind, and spirit, the spirit part is what represents the higher mind in that definition or in that example. Although we understand that spirit can be a different thing, although it still includes the higher mind. So the idea is that, yes, your body can be conditioned by the mind, and the mind can be conditioned by the body in a sort of cyclic feedback loop. What you believe yourself to be, what you think of yourself as, can have an effect on how the body behaves. And how the body behaves can reinforce or have an effect on who you think you are, or what you believe about yourself to be true. So that kind of works in tandem with one another. The idea is that the higher mind is above and beyond the idea of the physical mind. Physical mind is simply that which allows you to have a physical experience expressed as the idea of a physical body, because that's just a projection of consciousness, as all physical reality is. So the body is, in a sense, the spirit projecting a portion of itself in a certain way that experiences itself as a physical being. And in order to experience oneself as a physical being, you have to have an organizational pattern of energy within that physical being that represents the physical mind, so it can be aware consciously of the experience it is having. The soul, as we have said, is sort of like unfired clay. The spirit is the ceramic, that is the fired clay, that represents the particular specific experience you're having as a particular physical identity, and therefore is contained within the oversoul and the soul, ultimately. But the higher mind is a splitting of the soul into the non-physical guiding higher mind, and the physical mind having the physical experience. Once the physical mind exists, then the body is subject to the belief systems in the physical mind, and again, the body can reinforce those particular physical beliefs within the physical mind. We do not know if this is a clear enough explanation for you, since we're not interacting with you. But generally speaking, you have the oversoul, the soul, splitting itself into the non-physical higher mind and the physical mind, which then can have an experience of creating the spirit that is then once again taking that specific physical life experience and incorporating it back into the soul's experience and feeding that back into the oversoul's experience, which feeds it back into all that is.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
So nice to connect with you again. Thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity.
It is our passion and our pleasure. Please speak up.
Sure. I also want to thank you for that monologue. My heart is definitely racing after listening to that.
Oh, all right.
I had some questions for you that are a little off topic, if that's okay.
All right. That's all right.
So the first question actually had two parts to it, and it mainly has to do with state of being.
Yeah.
Lately, I've been feeling that I'm able to embody that frequency, that energy of my future desired self, who in this case is a rap star. That's one of my biggest dreams is
All right.
to be a successful rap star one day.
All right.
And,
Now, one moment. Let me stop you.
sure.
If rap is your passion, don't add all sorts of insistences or conditions on how that needs to express yourself when you use the word successful.
Okay.
Because the meaning you may be giving that may not be, it may be, but it may not be the meaning that actually serves you. So you are successful when you are simply expressing your passion in any way, shape, or form. Don't necessarily limit it by putting conditions on what you think being a successful rap star looks like for you.
Mm.
Watch
Okay.
your insistences.
So I'm really glad you said that. Is that maybe my negative ego coming into play, thinking that
It's mostly your training. It's mostly your training saying, well, this is the only way that that can actually look. Just relax that definition and be open to the idea that there may be other ways in which that can be represented as successful. You don't know.
just because I can't imagine it doesn't mean it's not there's not some higher maybe reality.
You use what you can imagine. You use what representation you do have as a way of getting you excited, but you drop that particular representation and stay in the state of being to allow the higher mind to bring you the way that actually works best for you. And it might be what you envision, but it might not be. So don't limit it by insisting on the particular way in which you've been taught to think. Just use it to your advantage to get you excited, but don't insist on that picture because it could happen some other way that could be many times better.
Yeah. Well, again, I'm really glad you said that. It feels like I've heard you say in the past it's about state of being.
Yes.
And it seems like I keep making my goal or my state of being conditional on.
Yes.
Okay.
On having it to look like a certain thing in order for you to determine that you have been successful. Let me put it to you this way through an example.
Okay.
Let's just say all of a sudden synchronicity, and I'm not saying this is going to happen, I'm just opening your mind up a little bit.
Sure.
Let's say synchronicity suddenly brings you an opportunity to arrive at a children's hospital. And in that children's hospital, you do your rap for those children to allow them to feel more excited, more healthy, more uplifted. Now, what if that's all it turns out to be? Would you not know that you would still be getting absolute joy out of that, even though it's not traditionally what many people would think of as a traditional music career?
Right. Right.
So,
no, I absolutely. Yeah.
All right. So allow for different ways in which you could be of service by expressing your joy and your passion and your gift. I'm not, again, saying it has to limit itself to any one way. You may be doing it 12 different ways. But the idea is that if you only insist that one way is the way, you will never experience the idea of the 11 other ways it could also be.
That's deep, Bashar. I'm really glad. My follow-up question to that is like irrelevant now, but I'm trying to process what you just said.
Oh, it's not that difficult. You understand the concept that I'm telling you.
Yeah, I think it comes down to this fear that I have. Actually, I have a couple fears, but one is that, I'm going to follow the formula, act on my passion, make music, and then I'm going to be 40 years old one day, living under a bridge or something. And
well, that's extremely interesting that you would pick that kind of a scenario as the logical outcome of following your passion, which means you have a completely contradictory definition of what your passion is all about. Because you're saying, if I follow my passion, something that's not representative of my passion might happen. That's an absolute impossibility. Or even if it did happen physically that way, it would actually be representative of your passion and you wouldn't mind it. So the idea is to trust that the state of being will express itself through any outcome that is truly representative of your passion, no matter how it looks. What if living under a bridge for a day, a week, or a year actually improved your ability to deliver your rap songs, because now you've experienced a slice of life that allows you to go deeper in the content that you will share with other people. Would that not be part of your passion?
I'm definitely starting to see
Yes.
what you're getting at. That's
All right.
very, very enlightening. Yeah, I guess, and then it goes to another fear that I have of actually making it, big one day, and then it feels like,
Yes.
you
You
know,
can't handle it?
yeah, maybe just like every move I make would be under a microscope, and then
So what? So what?
yeah,
So
yeah.
what? That's your mantra. So what? Because again, if you understand that you are truly in alignment with your passion,
Yeah.
whatever it is that happens is going to be an expression of that and will actually feel correct. Now, if it doesn't feel correct, that gives you the opportunity to examine the fear-based beliefs within you to make sure you actually are following your passion, because maybe you took another course that really wasn't representative of it, and the feeling is guiding you back into the true path for you. Or again, it gives you the opportunity to let go of that fear-based belief so that you can truly feel where you are as being representative of the outcome of your passion.
I feel like on either case of either of those fears, those two extremes, the underlying fear is just embarrassment or maybe like feeling humiliated or something, making a mistake. So definitely something to.
All right, but if you make a mistake, isn't that something you can learn from and do differently next time?
Right. Especially if I define it in the most positive light possible.
Exactly. How you experience anything is how you define it.
Nice.
So I'm not saying you suddenly recognize negative things as positive things. I'm saying you recognize that even when something is generated by a negative experience, you can still get a positive experience from it if you stay in a positive state. Remember, that is one of the stages of the formula. You stay in a positive state no matter what happens, so you can get the benefit out of it.
Right.
Otherwise, you'll only experience the negative side of it by defining it in a negative way. Oh, this shouldn't have happened. I did something wrong. This doesn't belong in my life. I'm not capable. I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy, blah, blah, blah.
And then
If that's what you prefer, then that's what you'll get.
Right. Awesome. Awesome. So glad you said that, Bashar. Thank you so much for your time.
It is our passion and our pleasure.
Really appreciate it. Till next time.
Good day.
Good day.
Hi, Bashar. This is Karen again. I've got another question for you, and it is about cats once more. So, you told me in a previous conversation that cats do not reincarnate, but there is something peculiar about my cats. They seem to be connected to one another. Now, my cats are not cats. They truly guide me. They truly help me. They're just magical. And I was wondering, do animals, and then especially cats, have an oversoul, just as we humans have? And the cats that truly take on this mission, maybe, to guide humans, do they come from the same oversoul? Thank you for broadening up my perspective on this. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yes, cats can have an oversoul. Now, when we said cats don't reincarnate, we say it in the same way that we say nothing actually does, because everything exists all at the same time, and reincarnation is an illusion from the physical perspective. You can create a sensation in physical reality, a perspective from physical reality that one life happens after another, but the idea is that it's simply a connection to things that exist at the same time and share similar frequencies so that you make that connection and think it's the same being over and over again when it's not. Different extensions of the same oversoul happening from the oversoul's perspective at the same time can play out in linear time-based physical reality as if they're in different times, all connecting back to the same oversoul. So reincarnation is the experience you can have from the physical perspective, But mechanically speaking, there's no such thing for humans, animals, or anything else, because everything exists all at the same time, and you make energetic connections to all these other things to create a linear continuity between them that makes it seem as if reincarnation is the mechanism, when all it is the experience from a particular perspective. But yes, there can be similar vibrations in cats that will be necessary to work with different humans in different ways or other beings in different ways. That creates a continuity that human may need to experience in order to understand what's going on as the lesson being reflected.
Hi, Bashar.
Good day, good day.
I'm Rem from Sarasota, Florida. How are you doing today?
Perfect, and you?
Good. I'm really good.
All right.
Recently, I've been excited about exploring the Taoist permission slip called Nea Kang and how it relates to the concepts you share with us.
All right. Is it working for you?
One more time.
Is it working for you?
Yes. I'm asking some really interesting questions, I think.
All right.
Practitioners of Nea Kang store energy in the dantian, or the subnavel. Taoist practitioners theorize that that is an optimal place to store energy because of some of the first cells created in conception.
All right.
I was curious why it seems like energy is stored in some places of the body more than others. It seems like the body is entirely comprised of energy, so wouldn't any part of it be receptive?
You can use it that way, but again, because you are experiencing a physical reality and have agreed to abide by the conditions and so-called rules of physical reality and processes that exist in physical reality, you can also diversify and look at things in ways that compartmentalize things that may be a way that works better for some people than others. So you can say, well, because this is the first cell created, I'm going to focus on that as having the ability to store a particular kind of energy for my purposes. So it's really all workable. You can look at it any way you want, but if you've gravitated to some particular perspective like that, there may be a reason for it. And it could be the reason that that is the perspective that will work for you. Or it could be the reason that gets you to ask the question, can't it be done in any part of the body? So you have to determine which answer is true for you with your investigation.
I was also curious about how this relates to, because it seemed to me that it would just be automatic by following the formula.
Yes, it is.
Various types of energy.
It is.
How does it mechanically, how does that look?
How does what look? Following the formula?
No. I mean, when does energy get involved in the formula? What is happening with energy in the formula?
Your energy overall is raising its frequency so that you can become a more sensitive receiver and an antenna to higher frequency information from the higher mind, from spirit, from other dimensional beings that can help guide you in figuring out what techniques, what permission slips work best for you.
Okay. And so there's another thing too, like the idea that where attention goes, chi flows, and attention is the first primary factor, and then chi is a secondary factor.
Yes. Well, the idea is exactly the same thing as acting on your passion. That's your focus. And when you act on your passion, all the energy of your being goes into becoming the driving engine, the organizing principle, the path of least resistance. That's the same thing in different terms.
Oh, okay. And is intention related to attention?
When you follow your passion, where else would your attention be?
But I mean, intention.
Where else would your intention be? If you're following your passion, you simply don't have an intention to do anything else at that moment. That's what we mean by it becomes the driving engine.
How do you discern intention from expectation?
Expectation in its negative sense is insistence.
Okay. So intention is just positive expectation.
Intention is just it's just the way you focus your energy by following your passion. Yes.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yes, absolutely.
All right.
My last question is, what happens when we get goosebumps? Let's say we hear a meaningful speech or there's a change in music. What causes goosebumps for us in that way?
You are aligning with the frequency and all of your little antennas perk up.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you. That's all.
You are very welcome. Have a good day.
You also.